This is Covering the Spread, part of the FanDuel Podcast Network.
Final crown jewel event of the season and the final race of the NASCAR Cup Series regular season is on tap Sunday night in Darlington. It is the Southern 500, and it should be a pretty fun one, both the playoff implications and just because Darlington is a fun track as well. Today, we're going to dive into where my model sees value at FanDuel Sportsbook for Sunday's race and outline my favorite bets at FanDuel Sportsbook. This is Covering the Spread, a FanDuel research podcast. My name is Jim Sanas. I am a managing editor at FanDuel Research, here to break down the Southern 500 from a betting perspective, laying out my top bets at FanDuel Sportsbook. We're going to dive into all that here in just 1 second, but first, a reminder to make sure you are subscribed to Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcasts. Beginning next week, we're back with you every weekday, Monday through Friday. No show Monday due to Labor Day, but back with you Tuesday through Friday, and then Monday through Friday from there on out, talking college football, NFL, etc., with a lot of fun guests we'll talk about next week. Also, on the feed right now, we have an NFL Futures show with Anthony DeBundo of The Ringer, breaking down his top futures bets at FanDuel Sportsbook, and a couple week one bets for the NFL he likes too. College football week one show with Kent Padgett of FanDuel is up as well. Find both those on the Covering the Spread podcast feed, the FanDuel YouTube page, and FanDuel TV Plus. Football is back, and there's no better place to get in on the NFL action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now all customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. Plus, with FanDuel, you don't even have to leave the app to access real-time stats and data to help you make even more winning bets. Download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC. Offer ends 9/22/24. After a 3-week free trial, the full price of NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Let's take a look at the betting odds at FanDuel Sportsbook for Sunday night's race. There's been some lengthening on the favorites of FanDuel Sportsbook for this one. Kyle Larson plus 650, Denny Hamlin 7-1, Tyler Reddick plus 750. And I'm actually pretty close to having value on a couple of those guys. I have Larson at 12.2%. 13.3% implied. I have Hamlin at 11.2%. He's 11.2%. His implied odds 11.8. So pretty close to market on both Larson and Reddick. Not there yet, but if they lengthen a bit more, could wind up firing on them at some point. As of right now, the best value for me at FanDuel Sportsbook to win Sunday night is a guy who doesn't have the best record in Darlington, but I think should over the long run. And that guy is Christopher Bell. Bell currently 14-1 to win at FanDuel Sportsbook, which is a value by my numbers. Now, looking at Bell's history, only one top 5 for him here, only 2 top 10s in the Cup Series, and didn't have the best record here in Xfinity either. But you tend to see a lot of dirt racers do well at this track, like Reddick and Larson, and Bell has the same background. And he also does run well on tracks with a lot of tire fall off. He is fantastic in Richmond. He won Homestead last year. So this should be a good track for him. And he hasn't been awful. He did lead 40 laps here last year. He has a 5th and a 6th pretty recently. So it's not his best track, but it's also not an actively bad track for him. And it should be a track that suits his skills. Here is a spot where I'm willing to bet on talent. And I think that the talent for Bell should shine through on this track type eventually. I have him at 8.6% to win. His implied odds at 14-1 are 6.7%. So even though Bell does not have the track record at Darlington specifically, he's been very good on similar tracks, and I think this should be a good track for him in the long run. So I want to take Bell now 14-1 before that track history improves and he shows that he can in fact win a track that again should suit his skill set pretty well. So that's my favorite outright for this week. When I wrote out the betting guide, at FanDuel Sportsbook, did have a second one. That was Alex Bowman to win. He was 65-1 at that time. He has since shortened to 48-1. That's a little bit, it's still a value for me, but it's shortened there. Also had value in him to finish top 10 at plus 270. He's down to plus 170 there now. Again, still a value there. But of the markets for Bowman, I think the best market with where things stand now is actually for him to finish top 5. I have Bowman 20% to finish top 5. His implied odds 6-1 are 14.3%, which is plenty enough value for me. So wrote up the outright in the top 10. Those have since shortened. Think the top 5 is the best market now. Bowman is a guy who's had a lot of success on tracks with lots of tire fall off. He won Chicagoland back in the day, which was a track with a lot of tire degradation. He's won at Richmond, Dover, Fontana. Dover, not a high tire fall off track, but it's a concrete track. And there is a decent amount of overlap between tire fall off tracks and concrete tracks where you see a lot of dirt races do well on both. And Bowman does have a lot of dirt track racing in his background. And those races do bode well for Bowman at this track. He did finish runner-up here back in 2020, the first race out of the COVID break. He's finished top 10 each of his past 2 trips to this track where he finished. So I think that he's undervalued right now overall. Again, I don't mind if you want to go with the outright 48-1, or there is synergy there because he drives a 48 car. Don't mind the top 10 at plus 170. But the preference with where the markets currently stand is to go with Bowman to finish top 5. Again, currently 6-1 at FanDuel Sportsbook for this week. Couple top 10s I do like based on the current odds. Both these were in the betting guide over at FanDuel Research as well. First one being Daniel Suarez at 6-1. And Suarez was not good here back in the spring. But it was part of a stretch where Suarez and his team were really just kind of awful. And after the Darlington race, he actually posted an apology video to fans saying like, hey, I know we stink. My bad. We'll get better. And he said in that video, we've been tinkering with things, trying to identify speed for the playoffs because Suarez locked up his playoff spot all the way back in February. So they had the wiggle room to experiment, and they did, and it didn't work. Since then, though, it does seem like they've decided to try to get things back on track because over the past 12 races for Suarez, he has 4 top 10s and he has a couple of top 13 average running positions that were not top 10s in that time as well. So running pretty well overall, and that's a big change for him. So Suarez in a lot better form right now. And importantly, he finished top 10 in Richmond. And he was really fast all weekend long there. He was, I think, one of the faster cars in practice, ran up front during the race, used some strategy to get up there, but then was fast once he got there too. So that's a track with a lot of tire fall off where Suarez's history before then was not very good. At Darlington specifically, he's been okay. Honestly, not great, but I don't think there's enough here to really scare me off, given he did improve at Richmond. His overall form is better, and his top 10 odds are pretty long at 6-1. I have Suarez at 25.7% finished inside the top 10, and his implied odds are 14.3%, so I am way off market here, but I am okay with that based on how much better Suarez has been running recently. So Suarez top 10, 6-1, the next bet for me. Final driver I want to highlight in final market is Carson Hocevar. He is 11-1 to finish top 10. And unlike Bell and unlike Suarez, Hocevar actually does have tangibly good track history at this track. He ran 4 truck races here. He finished inside the top 5 3 separate times, including a runner-up during his age 18 season. So he's been good here even when he was younger. And then in the Xfinity Series, he ran a part-time schedule, but his second race and his first race with a legitimate team was at Darlington. And he ran really well there, qualified in the 20s, but finished 6th and was fast pretty much the entire day. So Hocevar has proven both in trucks and Xfinity, he can get around this track. He's also in really good form relative to these odds because he finished 8th in Richmond, another track with lots of tire wear. He was 16th in Nashville, and again, concrete has some overlap with tracks with lots of tire fall off. He also finished 17th here last year while running a part-time schedule for Legacy Motor Club. So we've seen him do it at Darlington in all 3 series. His form has been very good with the top 10 in Richmond, top 10 in some other somewhat noteworthy tracks as well. As a result, I have Hocevar 16% to finish top 10 His implied odds here are 8.3%. So it's a value I'm very willing to take, and we'll go with that here. So favorite bets for me for the Southern 500 in Darlington are going to be Carson Host of our top 10, 11-1, Daniel Suarez top 10, 6-1. We'll take Alex Bowman top 5, 6-1, and Christopher Bell to win 14-1 for this week. That's all that we have here for today and this week on Covering the Spread. Back with you Tuesday. Going to have Liv Moods, Olivia Moody, on with us to take our first look at week one. Then a lot of other fun shows coming up Wednesday through Friday as well. And again, we are back to weekday shows here on Covering the Spread, Monday through Friday as we get into the NFL season. No show this Monday due to Labor Day, but a full schedule from there on out. So to get those shows as they are posted, search for Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcasts. Hit subscribe, and if you like what you hear, leave us a 5-star rating and review as well. And of course, these shows go up on the FanDuel YouTube page and FanDuel TV Plus. Leave us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. Appreciate those who have done so as always. And to get FanDuel TV Plus, go to FanDuel.com/watch and log into their FanDuel account, or check out the FanDuel TV Plus app on your Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or Roku device. If you got any questions for me, I am on X at Jim Sonis. You can find FanDuel Research on X at FanDuel Research. Want to thank you all for tuning in for today. Good luck to you with your bets for the Southern 500. We'll talk to you once again next week for week one in the NFL. Sounds crazy to say. Have a great Labor Day weekend. This has been Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast.